Hello everyone and welcome to Kiki Crochet. In this video tutorial we're going to learn how to crochet step by step the Myrto Infinity scarf. This is for a 9-year-old. I have used a total of 1.5 skein of yarn and I'm crocheting with a 4.5mm crochet hook. Now the yarn and the crochet hook we're going to see in a little bit. What I want to explain is that you have seen the chart in the beginning of the video. I have worked a sample with the yarn and the crochet hook that I've used, and based on that sample, on that gauge, I calculated the number of chains that you need for every age for a single infinity scarf, which is the one that just you wear it over your head, for a double infinity scarf, which is the one that folds as this one, and for a regular scarf. I have also calculated the total number of rows needed to reach the total length for each scarf. Okay, so now let's see the sample and how to start our infinity scarf. Now let's see the material that I'm going to use, and I'm crocheting with Alize Baby Best, which is 90% acrylic and 10% bamboo. Okay. And I'm going to crochet with a 4.5mm crochet hook. Now before we start, I want to see the pattern and I want to explain a few things. Now, what we need to do is we always need to work a sample, our gauge. And by working this sample, which is 10 centimeters wide and 10 centimeters long, which is about 4 inches by 4 inches. Okay. By working this sample, we know how to adjust to any size that we want. Okay. I'm going to create new videos in the future, and I'm going to show how, by working a sample, how you can adjust to the total length, total width, and by working this sample over here, we can calculate the total amount of yarn that we're going to use. Okay, so what I want to explain in the beginning, and this is how we're going to start our patterns in the future, I want to explain how a pattern works. Okay, and it's very important because many people do not know how to read patterns and how to find the multiple to start a new stitch. So when we talk about the rule of a stitch, which is the multiple, we mean it on how many chains from the beginning chain the pattern repeats itself. So this is a very easy one. We can see that the pattern is right over here. I have the V-stitch and 1, 2, 3 stitches, V-stitch, 1, 2, 3 stitches. Okay, so right here I have the V-stitch and 1, 2, 3 stitches over here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4 is my next repetition over here. Again, from the V-stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4 over here is my next repetition. Okay, so you see that every time I start and I end is the same exact way where I start and my end on the next spot over here on my chain. And I want to keep counting to see if I have another repetition. So I have 1 where I'm going to work the V-stitch, 2, 3. So I don't have another repetition because after the third chain I have the 2 stitches right here in the end. Okay, so what this means that my rule is multiples of 4. So on top of every 4 chains of my beginning chain, my pattern is going to repeat itself. So multiples of 4 plus, now we're going to see how many extra chains I need to work on the beginning chain. So when I turn to row number 1, my pattern is going to come out correctly. So I see that I don't have any other repetitions on the left side. Let's check if we have repetitions on the right side. And I have, after the V-stitch, 1, 2 stitches again, and on the third I have my 2 double crochet over here. So I don't have any other repetitions here, nor do I have any on this side. So I need to count all those leftover chains to add them in the end. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now what does a multiple of 4 mean? This means that when you work your chain, you work in fours. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, all those chains are correct. But in the end, you're always going to add the 10 extra chains. So if you start with 28 chains, which is 4 times 7 is 28, plus 10, 38. If you're going to start with 16, plus 10 is 26, and so on. Okay, and as you see here, the first row is made of single crochet, and this is because we're working the cluster V-stitch, and we work too many stitches in one stitch. If I work this on top of the chain, it's going to create big holes and it's not going to look nice. So this is why I worked my first row of single crochet. And when we read a pattern, we always start from the left, reading from the left to the right, our beginning chain, and the beginning chain never counts as a row. Okay, so start from the left to the right, then go up from the right to the left, go up from the left to the right, go up from the right to the left, and so on. So this is how you read a pattern. It's like a snake. This is how you read a pattern, where this is your beginning chain, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and so on. Okay? So let's go ahead and start. And I've already started working with my beginning chain. As you saw in the beginning of the video, I'm crocheting this infinity scarf for a 9-year-old. So I started with 38 chains, okay? And I'm going to start my first row with single crochet. Starting the first row with single crochet means that from the 38 chains, I'm going to have 37 single crochet in row number 1. So skip the first chain and put your hook in the second one. So 1, next stitch, 2, next one, 3, next chain, 4, 5, 6, and keep crocheting 1 single crochet in every chain for a total of 37 single crochet. I've completed working row number 1 with a total of 37 single crochet. Now let's go back to our pattern, and this is what we just did. We worked the chains, started row number 1 with 1 single crochet in every stitch. Now I've seen many times people asking which is the good side of a pattern. Now because we start reading the pattern from left to right, the good side is when the yarn right here, this tail that you started your crochet project with, okay, is on the left side. This means that this is the good side of your work. Now we're going to start row number 2, where my pattern says that I need to start with a chain 3, which is my first double crochet, and work a double crochet on top of the second single crochet. Then I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and I'm going to work a cluster V-stitch, which this is not the correct drawing for it, okay? It was kind of difficult to draw, so I just made those V's over here. Okay, then I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3 single crochet and cluster V-stitch, 1, 2, 3 single crochet and the V-stitch, and so on. Okay, so we're going to start row number 2 by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn your work. Now we're not going to crochet on the first stitch because the chain 3 counts as my first double crochet. So put your hook on the second stitch and work a double crochet. Now I'm going to skip 2, 1, 2, put your hook in the third, okay, yarn over once, put your hook in the third stitch, and we're going to start creating the cluster V-stitch. So grab the yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, okay, Now if I yarn over and crochet the last 2 loops, I'm going to have a double crochet, but I don't want to do that. I want to yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, and now I have 2 halfway done double crochet and 3 loops on my hook, which I'm going to close together. Then I'm going to chain 2, and on the same stitch I'm going to work the same exact steps. So put your hook, yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through the first 2 loops and leave the last 2 on your hook. Yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, yarn over once, pull through the first 2 loops and leave the last loop on your hook. So again I have 2 halfway done double crochet, 3 loops which I'm going to close together. So every time I do a clustered 2 double crochet, this counts as 1 stitch. This counts as 1 stitch as well, and the 2 chains in the center. From here on, I'm going to be skipping 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, put your hook in the third, and work again your cluster V stitch, okay? So yarn over once, put your hook in the 4th stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2. So again I have 2 halfway done double crochet, 3 loops which I'm going to close together. Chain 2, yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, again 2 halfway done double crochet, 3 loops which I'm going to close together. Okay, so this is how the cluster V stitches are being formed. So now I'm going to crochet a little faster. So yarn over once, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, and close the 3 loops together. 1, 2 chains, yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, again 3 loops which we're going to close together. Yarn over once, 1, 2, 3, put your hook in the 4th stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, close the 3 loops together, chain 2, yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, put your hook in the same stitch, grab the yarn, pull through 2. We have 3 loops which we're going to close together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Close the 3 loops. Chain 2. Same stitch. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Close the 3 loops. Again, skip 3. 1, 2, 3. Put your hook in the 4th. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Yarn over once. Put your hook in the same stitch. Okay. Close the 3 loops together. Chain 2. Yarn over once. Put your hook in the same stitch. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Same stitch. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Close together the 3 loops. Again, skip 3. 1, 2, 3. Put your hook in the 4th. Grab the yarn, pull through 2. Same stitch. Close all of the 3 loops together. Chain 2. Put your hook in the same stitch. Put your hook in the same stitch. Close the 3 loops together. Again, skip 3. We're going to work the last shell stitch now. So skip 3, put your hook in the 4th, and work the last shell stitch for this row. chain 2, okay, and I'm going to finish the row by skipping 2 stitches, 1, 2, and I'm going to put my hook in the third, and I'm going to work a regular double crochet and one more double crochet in the last stitch for this row. So this is how the second row of my infinity scarf looks like. Now we're going to start the third row, and this is the last row that we're going to see on camera, because every row is going to start and finish in the same exact way that we're going to do row number 3. So always start with a chain 3 and turn your work. The 3 chains count as my first double crochet, so skip the stitch and put your hook on the second stitch of the row. Now under every chain 2 space of every shell, we're going to be working the shells from here on. So this is my shell, the chain 2 space, so right here work your shell. This is the V-stitch, okay. Under the chain 2 space, work your V-stitch. This is my V-stitch. Under the chain 2 space, work your V-stitch. Here, under the chain 2 space, and so on. Okay, and you can call it a shell because it kind of looks like one. So yarn over once, put your hook under the chain 2 space, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, under the same space, grab the yarn, pull through 2. So again have 3 loops which I'm going to close together, chain 2, and again under the same chain 2 space, grab the yarn, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over once, under the same space, grab the yarn, pull through 2, again close the 3 loops together. We're going to do one more V-stitch together, the next one right here under the chain 2 space. So grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, put your hook under the chain 2 space, grab the yarn, pull through 2, again close together the 3 loops, chain 2, yarn over once, under the same chain 2 space, grab the yarn, pull through 2, yarn over once, hook under the same space. Okay, again 3 loops which we're going to close together. So once I finish crocheting under the last chain 2 space on the last V-stitch, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to finish the row together. I've completed crocheting on top of every V-stitch, and I'm going to finish my row by crocheting 1 double crochet on top of the 2 double crochet of the row. Okay. So this is the second before last stitch, which I'm going to work a double crochet on top of it, a regular double crochet. And the last row is the last double crochet, which is the chain 3 that we always start a row with. So counting from the bottom to the top, 1, 2, 3, put your hook in that 3rd chain and work your last double crochet for this row. So this is how our pattern looks like. So keep working the same exact steps that we just did in row number 3. Once I reach the total length that I need, okay, you can see the total length needed on the chart, as well as the approximate rows that you're going to need to reach that length. Once I reach the length, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how to join the 2 sides to create the infinity scarf. I've completed crocheting my scarf. I have worked 81 rows. As I mentioned on the chart, I have reached the total measurement that I want, the total length, which is 115 centimeters. Now we're going to see how to join in order to make the scarf an infinity scarf. So I want the side that I finished working, where I have the loop, to be on the right side and on the front. Okay, I frogged the 1 chain that I had worked. So the last 2 stitches are my 2 double crochet, okay? So right away when you work your 2 double crochet, in the end, turn the work and start joining. I want to put my hook. Now, before I start to show how to join by slip stitching, I want to mention that the stitches that we had in the beginning down here where we worked our chain and then the row of single crochet, on this side you will have one extra stitch comparing to the shells that we have over here. So if you have one leftover chain in the end over here, don't get nervous, it's not wrong, this is how it's going to be. So work one more slip stitch in the same stitch on the front side with the back to finish working, okay? So what we want to do is we want to put our hook on the first stitch on the front and on the first chain in the back right over here, and work your slip stitch. Okay, now put your hook in the second stitch on the front and in the second chain in the back and slip stitch. Now on each shell, on each V-stitch, we have a total of 4 stitches that we're going to close. The first stitch is the first 2 double crochet cluster, then each of the 2 chains count as a stitch, so 1, 2, 3 with the chains, and the 4th stitch is the second 2 double crochet cluster. Okay, so let's grab the first stitch of the shell and the 3rd chain in the back and slip stitch. The first chain on the front and the next chain in the back. The second chain in the front and the next chain in the back. Now the 2 double crochet cluster and the next chain in the back. Okay, so keep working slip stitches up until you finish joining, and this is how it'll look. This is going to be now the wrong side of our infinity scarf because we have a little scheme right here by working the slip stitches. Okay, once I finish, I'm going to turn my video back on to see how our infinity scarf will look completed. I've completed joining my infinity scarf. Now in order to close our project, chain 1, cut the yarn and fasten off. Now I'm going to go off camera to weave in my ends, and once I finish I'm going to turn my video back on to see how our scarf looks completed. I've completed my infinity scarf and this is how it looks. I've turned it on the good side and this is the little scheme that shows on the front, okay? And because this is an infinity scarf that folds in 2, this is how it looks like. Okay, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like the video, please press like and leave a comment. Also, under the video on the first pinned post you will find all the links to the Facebook page, group, my Instagram, okay, my Pinterest, so you can follow Kiki Crochet. It's very important that when you subscribe in the channel, once you subscribe, right next to the subscription button a little bell will appear. Please press that bell so you turn on all notifications, so every time any new video uploads you will get notified. So thanks again, bye bye.